Yo, 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 what's going on? It's Terrell Hall of Fame, D-Line, tbkc, and all that sweet, beautiful, wonderful shit. Now, check it out. A friend of mine's asked me to explain this chart, and the chart has many dogs in there. It has the, I think at the top it has pitbull, and it has across from it the American bulldog. I think it has the Odie, the Staffy, English bulldog. And I have gone over this, but some of you are new to the page, so it's fine. We'll go a little more in depth into it right now. And with that being said, one of the things with this is that we actually don't know what the American Bully is. Let's just say that. We don't know what the American Bully is because so many people cheated. Now, if I take you back to the origins, when you talk about more of the original dogs like Cairo and some of the original dogs, yes, you had Staffy and you had the pit bulls, and they were just overgrown, you know, as I've explained, even with like my Rottweilers. I bred Rottweilers, and they didn't come in at 130 pounds. They came in at 170 and 80 pounds, even though their parents were that. So it pulled from the Mastiff genetics. But what, you know, but the truth of the matter is once the thing became an issue of the 100-pound dog, the 100-pound red nose, the 120-pound red nose, the 130-pound red nose, blue nose, you know, it became that thing of who could have the biggest dogs back in the early 2000s. When that brought itself into the fold, of course, people used American Bulldog, but they lied about it. Of course, people used Odie Bulldog, but they lied about it. Some people went on ahead and found the larger and bullier Alapahas. They lied about it. That's where you get your Merles from. It's a bunch of lies, you know. Now, the English thing, that came about when, let's say, 2007, 2008, when the pocket really was blown up. Paco was making a ton of money. What happened is, of course, they start using the English Bulldog. They start using the French Bulldog to bring the size down instead of just breeding them down. So what you have is you have two different families of dogs, and now a lot of stuff is intertwined. Dax is intertwined into everything. Miyagi is intertwined into everything. There's a lot of question marks about those dogs, not only just about them as far as their genetics, but also how many of their breedings actually weren't theirs. You know, there's a lot of talk about that. And today it has evolved that I would be on here for hours, literally, you know, where you have a popular dog like Rocco Mania, who a lot of people have used. And, you know, his grandmother is an award-winning exotic. She's actually won shows and stuff, I think, you know, but she's definitely an exotic. And it's all intertwined now. And, you know, and as I told y'all before, that was the job of the registries. That's what the whole point of the registries were. That was what the registries were supposed to be doing. And as we failed at controlling the situation, it got out of control. So the problem with the American Bully is that the American Bully, and I'm going to open this door so these lights stay on, but the American Bully, we don't actually know what it is. Now, you can take the finer specimens that don't look so much bulldog, and generally that's why you see certain things like the dogs that, you know, everybody say, oh, those are classics. Generally, the classics are the best built dogs in the breed. You know, they have the best conformation, they have the best health. That's because more of the dogs that look more classic-like, and that's the true evolution of a breed, that those classic type of dogs, it should have been a slow progression to keep adding size, keep getting bigger. They have the true look, you know, your Remy Martin type of look, the, you know, Paco type of look. You know, we can go on and on. You know, Pokemon is one of my favorites, and he was a big dog. But those dogs that didn't have the bulldog look but had the bigger, cheekier type of look, as we call it, those dogs were the dogs that stayed, you know, pretty much in the Staffy, Pitbull evolution type thing, where we're breeding them up, we're taking bigger dogs, you know, the biggest dog to the biggest dog to the biggest dog, or the bulliest dog, that type of thing. Very selective breeding. Whereas you have the other dogs that you can see it on them. And that's the thing that I've told y'all, you know, we are going to be very strict about our DNA testing, and I finally got some very good news about the tbkc, so I'm excited about that. But we're going to be very strict about these things. But if you have to use your eyes, you have to use your common sense. If the dog that you are picking has obvious strong bulldog traits, or obvious Doge Bordeaux traits, or I always mess that name up, but the Bordeaux traits, it's many dogs that have many of these traits that are totally outside of what you know the American Bully to be, going back to the original dogs. If you were looking at a dog that is way outside of those characteristics, or has known issues, or has big question marks about it, just stay away from it, you know, because breeding doesn't work the way people think, that where you can fix these problems. And y'all have heard me say this a million times. You stack pedigrees to make beautiful dogs, you know. You can't cheat this system, you know. If you have dogs in your pedigree that have those bulldog traits, and a lot of people have been concerned about, you know, because I've talked about some of the issues with Dax or Miyagi or those dogs, I will reiterate that Dax himself was never proven to have, excuse me, proven to have serious issues as far as the integrity of his breedings. Miyagi has. And if anyone wants to know why most of the time all registries are pretty much anti-Miyagi, is because it was very well known that those was French bulldogs. Dax never really had that problem, even though it's a bunch of question marks out there. It was never proven anything like that. But when you have those dogs in your pedigree, you know, Miyagi is banned in my book, but even a Dax, you want to go towards the stronger American bully genes, the cleaner dogs, the dogs that have the structure and the health and have the real American bully look, if this is what you're trying to do. Because in this free-for-all of breeding, you know, I can tell y'all, and I've named this off many a times, in the dogs that you have, and y'all stay tuned on this video, because this will make more sense towards the end. I'm going to name it off again. And these are the dogs that I know for a fact have been incorporated into this breed, and it's crazy. The Bordeaux, you know, the big Turner and Hooch dog, it has been incorporated. The Rottweiler has been incorporated. The Odie has been incorporated. The Alapaha has been incorporated. The English Bulldog, the French Bulldog has been incorporated. You know, it's probably a few more from the Bulldog breed that has been, you know, I wouldn't even highly doubt with people's craziness. Of course, the American Bulldog, I was forgetting him. But, you know, these are a lot of dogs that were put into this breed for different things. You know, a lot of it was size. A lot of it was their characteristics of their head shape and their spread and different things like that. A lot of the overly wide spread dogs come from the Odie family. If you look into the Odie family, you can find dogs with chests as wide as this truck I'm sitting in. And, you know, they were used a lot. But this is the problem with that. Many of you have heard me talk about this before. The liger, you know, a mix of the tiger and lion. Now, I might mess this up, but one of the females, and I do believe that the female that has the gene to control the size of the animals is the tiger, and the lion doesn't. But I might have it backwards. And during the breeding course, the reason why these animals get so much larger is because of that gene that allows that stops the animal from overgrowing is not in the female, and now you've mixed these two species. And what has also happened in theirs, and it's happened with jackasses too, when you get to making those, is that a lot of these animals, well, all of them have come into life sterile. They can't reproduce, and a lot of them have an issue that animals don't call it Down syndrome, but it's a similar issue that they have, and they're just not all the way together. Now, you can ask yourself, how can you put together two very nice animals and you come up with something that's very, very flawed? These species were not meant to be bred together. And it's a lot like that with the dog breeds. You can take some of the absolute finer specimens throughout the canine world, and as you put them together, it won't work. They've been bred a certain way to look a certain way, to function a certain way. Once you start playing with the genetics, it does not matter that they're all dogs. Things start to break down. Things start to go wrong. This is why we see a lot of these dogs that have these, you know, serious dwarfism and Down syndrome traits and all these things, is because, bottom line, this wasn't meant to happen. People thought that, oh, it'd be a great idea to mix a American bully with a bulldog. And it didn't come out all the time how they thought it was. Sometimes you came out with massive deformity. Sometimes you came out with mental issues. Sometimes you came out with worse respiratory issues than even the bulldogs were known to have. It's because you can't play with genetics. This is a true science. And what has happened in the American bully world is they have mixed everything, and these are not scientists. These are dudes who want to escalate, who want to try to make a quick business, who buy 2 or 3 dogs and put it together quick, and they don't understand the science of it. They don't even understand the finer details of breeding out issues where it's skin issues, or where it's you know, any issue. They don't understand the proper way to avoid these, to negate these, to, you know, to break it down and to figure out, because every problem has, you know, an origin. You know, even with the skin, you know, for instance, with skin, it's well known in the American bully world that a lot of the blue dogs have serious skin issues. One of the reasons that happened is what we've seen today. Blue was not a very known color, and I keep opening and shutting this for light. But blue was not a popular color back in the day when these dogs came along. So when it of course, just like now people want to do merles, and then, you know, that's a whole different story. But you know, they don't know how to breed merles either. It's a proper way to breed merles so they don't fall apart. They don't know how. I got a friend of mine that knows how, you know, and I'm wishing him the best of luck on what he's trying to do. But with the blues, my God, they inbred them a lot. They bred them, line bred them, because they wanted that blue color so bad that they just kept on breeding them, Well, they weaken the immune systems. Anytime, and I've explained this about plagues around the world and different things like that, when you compress a bloodline, whether it's human or whatever, too tight, genetic defects start to happen. And one of the first things that start to happen is a breakdown in the immune system. This is why, as you'll notice with some of our seminars and some of the talks that we're going to have coming up with some of the better breeders in the world, and it's not just bully breeders, one of the things that you have to do, and I'm dealing with a Rottweiler breeder now, and we're going over that. He's still importing dogs after 40 years, and his line is gorgeous. But the reason you have to import other lines is because if this stuff gets too tight, it breaks down. This is why you see the American bully world breaking down in many facets. Some from mixing species and mixing dogs and the genetics went crazy. Others from breeding too tight, and you'll start to notice it, and it'll get generation, and then at one point it'll just implode because you're thinking that you're doing the right thing and you're seeing certain results, but you're not taking into the effect that this genetic gene pool has to be, you know, maximized in a way of adding other genes into it. It just can't happen. You just can't keep breeding the same dogs over and over and over again, because it might look good for a while, but it's going to be one generation where your dog comes out with 5 legs. I mean, it's going to happen. And what you'll see is you'll see a diminishing of size sometimes. You'll see a diminishing of health. In a lot of cases, you'll see a lot of different things. So we're going to get into this strong. But for all of y'all, yes, there are a million dogs, but that is not the right way that's mixed into this breed. The true way is pitbull, staffy. But we're so far past that, we can't do anything about that. Now we have to go towards those characteristics. We have to push for the proper health testing now. We have to push for the proper DNA testing now. You know, the whole line, and we'll talk more and more about that as I pick up on these videos. But, you know, we know the problem. Now we got to start pushing towards the solution. We got to start breaking down things, and we'll go more in depth on different parts of these dogs as needed. But remember, when you're talking about an American bully, this is the pit bull on steroids, a very muscular dog, a very athletic dog, a very, very nice dog. So don't breed a dog. It's supposed to have athleticism. It's supposed to be able to breathe. You know, it's supposed to have tight skin. It's supposed to have that look. Remember that. You know, yes, we want them bully. Trust me, I'm trying to put together something that'll look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But at the same time, he's got to be able to run around like Deion Sanders, you know, and have and have the stamina, you know, of a long distance runner. I want a complete animal, and we won't have a breed until we have this. So maybe in the future videos, we'll start talking about the other breeds that are in this breed, so you'll get an understanding of what you're looking for inside this breed. I think that's what we'll do, and maybe tomorrow video, we'll go over the Alapaha again, not just talking about his origins, but talking about some of the issues with the Alapaha. Until next time, man, God bless y'all. Peace.